Assalamu alaikum. Isa Wali mutumina ne, kuma habibina ne, kuma baya raba da ni zai da rana. Mutum ne kuma ya wuce lokacinsa, ya zo ba lokacinsa ba ne. Allah ya bashi da ka'i da ilimi, bai yi makaranta ba, bai so ya shiga makarantar boko ba. Isa Wali a lokacin ni ubansa ne, ni abokin Wali ne. To kuma Wali Allah ya kansa haziki ne, kuma cikin yayansa ba za mu ce wani abu ba. Isa Wali ya tashi tsaye, mumini ne, musulmi ne, batijani ne.
When he joined us, he applied and got admission into Barewa College, the Basins area. So he wanted to be going to attend their classes in Zaria at the same time doing his job. And luckily, of course, they accepted him. Now, apart from that too, he wasn't quite satisfied with the level of the education of his wife, even though she did the government girls college in Kano. So he got her admission into one of the secondary school in Kaduna.
His courage and fearlessness, I think, came from his background. The background of a man who has emerged from a long line of intellectually developed family background.
Yeah, Isa is formally we call him. Is I think the fourth or the fifth in the seniority in the Wali family, and we are about, when our father died, we were 15.
Ba abin da yake faranta min rai game da ya Isa illa san jama'a, kullum san jama'a, amma kuma duk da haka in kai masa laifi kasancewa bai fito fili ya rama.
Sign of a patriot who does something not what he gets, but what others get. Not to be praised, but to believe the job has been done properly. So we thank him. If patriotism is a reflection of that, then Nigeria would have been far, far higher than what we are today.
I can see him. I can see him after so many years of, 40-something years of his departure from this temporary world of ours. And I can still him, I can still hear his voice, I can still hear his laughter. Those I will never go throughout the rest of my life.
I found out that Isa Wali belonged to Aminu Kano's school of thought. That impressed, I'm sure, the other two as well as myself. Here is a progressive northern young man who is really unique as compared with other northern friends we met earlier at the beginning of Nigeria's push for independence. Very frank, very urbane, scholarly, wise, and full of progressive thoughts.
Whenever he would visit Kaduna, he'd rather stay with me or stay with late Isa Wali. Even the government was very anxious. Why are we entertaining? Why are we close to Aminu Kano? I mentioned Aminu Kano to give an idea that the sort of ideas that the late Isa Wali would be having.
The second eldest brother, he was the one who had 2 wives, but all of us ended up with one wife, and we never married because with the articles he wrote, we felt very guilty even if we had to have a second wife, because he saw the idea, and he felt that there is a lot of injustice in this polygamy, etc., and having concubines. So somehow most of us took the idea.
He was a bubbling young person, quite knowledgeable about life, and a symbol of integrity.
He was everything you like in a man. He's a gentle, humble, humane, friendly. Oh, it's fantastic.
In ya shigo, shi da mai saurin magana ne gashi da dariya. Ko muna shan ti ko muna abu ne ina gidanta, ina je ko bisa ce la, dan Allah ya kunyan malam kike ji shi mata. Ai sarki na ne, mun mutanen da ne. Dan Allah ya yanzu an ci gaba ba a kunya. In ce ni ina jin kunyarsa. Allah sarki, Allah ya kansa Allah ya gafarta.
One day he called me. He said, "Look, Alpha, I learned that you don't write letters to your wife constantly. You are not writing. You don't write very often. Me, when I was quoting my wife, Zainab, I write a letter every day before even waiting for reply. I send another letter. I was puzzled. I didn't know how he knew. I know my wife will not tell him. My girl who I'm going to marry will not tell him. So I thought maybe he is a shrewd observer. He observed my behavior. Or maybe his wife, Zainab, who was very close to my mother-in-law, must give him a hint. I didn't bother about finding out the source. So I looked at him. I said, "You are perfectly right. I don't write letters, but I talk." So we all laughed. We ran into laughter. He laughed and I laughed. Then the matter was closed. Na gam da shi a Ingila, da shi da Zainab. Zainab tana cikin abin da ce, sai muka zo sai ce da ni, to, gashi nan ta dame ni wai za ta je kallon sinima. Sun ce, to ai ya sai ku je, ce ni? In ji kan kallon sinima ba za shi ba, ci je ka kai ta. To haka muka yi, na je ɗauki Zainab na kai ta sinima, muka dawo, kaza haka. To kaga irin wannan abubuwan, matarsa ce fa ce, kuma matar ni ita ya ta ce da na ƙi da na so. Amma da aka ce in je in kai ta sinima ni da kaina.
I remember when I was going to Government College Kefi, a friend of mine whose father gave a Mercedes-Benz to take us to college in Kefi. Then from Kaduna to Kefi was untarred. It was about 6 hours by a saloon car, 6 hours by road. He was very annoyed when he was in Ghana. He called me. He said, "No, I must enter the Bola Kaja, or the public transport, which was the open trucks. And by the time you got there, you were completely brown because of the dust." And he insisted that I must go to the school with everybody, which took 9 to 12 hours. And because I was so small, the other students would put me in front with the driver where the dust would not get to me.
He upheld the dignities of true Nigerian leaders wherever he was sent to, or wherever he went. You would know when he talks about Nigeria, you would think Nigeria is the best country on earth. And to us, at that time, definitely it was.
During the critical period of the formation of the OAU, and we worked very closely together. His reasoning was always sound, and we enjoyed working together.
Alhaji Isa Wali, as our High Commissioner, certainly was doing an exceptionally good job projecting Nigeria's image, projecting the good service that Sir Abubakar Tafa was doing in Nigeria. And as an envoy, he certainly excelled.
He worked very hard, and he was able to maintain a very good relationship with most of the leaders, political leaders in Ghana, and therefore was able to improve our relationship extensively.
Even his Babariga seemed to have been made specially for him. But the most important thing I think of him is that every part of him was friendly. His eyes, unforgettable, told you, I want to be your friend. When he spoke, he was dynamic, he was full of ideas. And his self-confidence and charm totally bowled me over.
Well, Ambassador Isa Wali was a very, very, very amiable person.
He took us in and we did things together. Like even going to nightclubs in those days, when nightclubs were, nightclubs, not all these rough things that we have right now. It was very calm, very serene. We could, nightclub in those days was a place you could just go to, relax, have a meal, listen to good music, dance. He was very sociable, the ambassador. He used to love to dance and take us out, like family.
Harin dai turawa ne, ko in fati za su matare za su, in ina za su matare za su.
There was no way you could have met the late Isa Wali without being impressed by his absolute charm and humility. He radiated so much warmth and friendliness that even till today, just merely thinking of him gives me so much excitement. I never met anyone like him. I probably will never meet anyone like him again.
He was a very practical person, not bossy. There was no air of intimidation around him. As far as he was concerned, he was just another colleague, and very friendly. So we didn't feel intimidated.
I was merely a third secretary at the High Commission. Imagine the gap between the High Commissioner and myself. Without notice, the High Commissioner would just drop in. And all you heard was that the High Commissioner was at the gate. And I said, to me? And I would open and he would come beaming with a smile. He said, I just wanted to see how you're getting on. More importantly, in the diplomatic service, we are supposed to be very liberal in entertaining the host community. Each time I gave a dinner, even if I gave him 1 day's notice, he would show up.
Himself and Nkrumah were casting jokes about their heights, because Isa Wali was a fairly short person, and Nkrumah was not a very tall person for that matter. Was a little bit below average. So Nkrumah introduced the joke and said, we have something in common, our heights, and we all laughed heartily. And then he started warning Isa Wali that your boys are very rascally. They're everywhere in Ghana, chasing after our girls. So we're going to have to watch all of you.
What happened that we again will never forget was after the coup here. He was High Commissioner in Accra. And the response he gave to them, to the journalists at the time, still sticks in my head. He said, you people think you know all the answers. You wait. It was very prophetic. Nkrumah went very shortly after.
It was in New York, and it was one of those incidents I remembered with great fear, in the sense that I couldn't believe what he did. Somebody stole his wallet, a black American, and we thought we commiserate, we gathered money, said don't worry about it, and on the 5th day we decided, just the two of us, we decided to go to Times Square on a stroll. He saw the man. He saw the man that did it, and he was going to take a speed to run after him. Run after him in the street of New York. I said, look, Isa, they're going to kill both of us. There's no doubt about it in my mind. There's no point in going after this man at all. He said, no. The man is a thief. you must follow me and let us catch him and take him to the police. I said, I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I'm not going to allow you to do any such foolish thing. Of course, he broke free and started running after this fellow. And I was following him. I was following him with the aim of just catching him so that he doesn't. I caught him eventually. I said, we are going to forgo this thing because this is a dangerous part of New York. What do they say if they say 2 foreign service officers get knocked off because of pause? Oh, he said people should not compromise with thieves and all that. You have to just decide that there's corruption or thieves. You just have to insist that you can't take it.
I think for every clever person, for every bright, intelligent person, there's a shortcoming that is common to all of them. They cannot suffer fools lightly. And I think he demanded too high a standard from other people. And I consider this a weakness because I suffer from it too.
Isa Wali's type were very few. Very, very few.
Coming from New York, he was with the United Nations, Nigerian delegation in the United Nations. He was coming and came to Paris, and he fell ill, and he was admitted in the hospital in Paris. But after a few days, I said, no, he's not going to stay there. He has to be brought back to Nigeria, and he wants to be treated in Nigeria. And this, he will be treated in Louth, and even his brother is there. So we just received him. He came, and people were saying, how can you leave France and come to Nigeria for medical treatment? He said, no, he doesn't think there's much difference between them, and we have to respect our whatever we have to build it up, we have to support it.
Even in the hospital, he was trying to writing drawing areas, discussion about problem of the 12-state structure, how Nigeria should be structured, how Nigeria should be broken into 12 states. Whenever I come, we discuss that at length. And he showed me the scene, but he was getting bad. We all felt everything was normal. The last day I saw him, before I left, was when I see his feet. He even showed me the map of how the area should be. We discussed it, some adjustment here and there. He said, what are the views? And he sent a copy to General Gawan.
Very articulate and very courageous, and he can marshal his argument most convincingly, whether it is in English or in Hausa. He is there, and I can still remember that smallish looking man, but I can assure you big, very big in the head and also in the heart, and his love for Nigeria, and of course the love for the North.
He drew a map. He was working on it. He then sent me a note of congratulations that he wanted 6 or 12 states, provided Kano is one of them.
On the eve of his death, I went to visit him. I did not know he was leaving us. We spoke for more than 40 minutes. And all he was concerned with was the future of Nigeria and the future of his own family.
Na zaune a gidana nan a Gidado Road. Sai ga da yana Ibi da Abbas sun zo suka ce da ni Hafizu Malam Isa ne ya rasu. Yana to sai na rasa yadda zan yi. Ya na Ibi ce ya kama hannuna.
When I heard that Isa Wali died, I was very shaken because I knew the role he would be playing behind the scenes in the polity of the place at the time. He will be one of the advisors of government, giving political advice to government on what Northerners should do as the country was being threatened with disintegration.
I think if he had lived, perhaps the history of Nigeria would be slightly different.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Those who knew him would bear witness that among his many virtues, late Ambassador Isa Wali was a strong advocate and champion of women and children program. This much is evident in several intellectual engagements he was involved in. In that respect, one of such engagement is his book he started writing on the position of women in Islam, which unfortunately death caught up with him before he could see its conclusion. He was someone who, true to his religion, conviction, and philosophy, was always in the vanguard when it comes to giving women their due, no matter what situation he found himself. As his children have followed into the footsteps of their father, I pray that Almighty God shall make their own children follow into their footsteps also.